Welcome to United Network News, the official news channel for CARE, the Center for Amity and Restoration of Earth. I'm Sunny Galt. At UNN, you get the real news. Through our field messengers, we show you the truth about what's really taking place in our communities. We also bring you stories to help you remember who you are and why you're here, as well as regional stories that impact the people. And our World Situation Report reveals what's happening throughout the multiverse. We are here to restore Earth. In the U.S., it is Friday, March 29th, 2024. We're headed to Texas to an event that celebrates cowboy culture. Learn more about this annual parade for the local community. In Romania, people celebrate the start of spring with a special tradition. Discover the meaning behind these red and white decorations. In the new Earth, we're learning all about twin flames. Is it really a thing? And how would you know if you found one? You've heard of counting sheep, but what about counting butterflies? It helps you connect with nature and relax.
This is Calen Giff, messenger for United Network News, and here's a look at today's field messenger reports from all around the world. Texas Prairie View Trail Ride is a celebrated event that captures the essence of cowboy culture and the spirit of community. UNN Field Messenger Kathy shares the history and importance of this annual tradition.
This is Field Messenger Kathy Carpenter reporting on a tradition of the Texas Prairie View Trail Riders. The Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo got its start nearly 90 years ago as the city's first big livestock show. What began with just 2,000 attendees has grown into one of the world's largest rodeos. It all started back in 1931 at the Texas State Hotel, now known as the Club Quarters Hotel, where a group of businessmen and cattlemen convened to figure out how to grow the region's cattle industry. Despite 2 million cattle in the area, Houston ranked 37th among livestock markets. The first show was held in the Sam Houston Hall in 1932 until 1936, when a fire damaged the Sam Houston Hall. 2 years later, the Sam Houston Coliseum became the show's new home. The first parade was held downtown, and the first organized rodeo was added to the festivities. By 1939, Houston's cattle market ranked 7th among the nation's livestock markets. Fast forward to 1952 is when the first trail ride came from Brenham, Texas to Houston, Texas, which in turn started a yearly celebration of trail riders adventuring into Houston to participate in a parade. Waller County celebrates the pride and professionalism of our own trail riders known as the Prairie View Trail Riders. Thank you for watching.
In Romania, a unique tradition that marks the beginning of spring is infusing the first day of March with cultural significance and ancient rituals. UNN Field Messenger Monica shares this beautiful tradition with us.
Romanians have this special, original way of welcoming the first day of spring, the 1st of March, offering and receiving mărțișoare, a sort of diminutive for martie, the Romanian word for March, made of 2 twisted wool or silk threads, one white and one red, symbolizing purity and love, an old ancient tradition that is still preserved. The purpose of the mărțișor is to bring the news of a new beginning, hope, joy, love and harmony into the lives of the people who give and receive it. Mărțișor can be worn around the neck, on the hand, or on the coat lapel. until spring showed clear signs of victory. Cuckoos could be heard singing, cherry trees blossomed, storks arrived. Then the martishore was usually placed on the branches of flowering trees. So the martishore is first given between people, then it is offered to plants, to nature, and by extension to the whole universe. Spring flowers, such as snowdrops, the true harbingers of spring, the ones that first pop their heads out of the snow and delight us with their tenderness, are often offered together with the martishore. The gesture of giving the martishore is loaded with sacredness and meanings. A symbol of the rebirth of the universe and the restoration of human existence, the martishore come and say to us, "Good man, take a break, take a deep breath and breathe out your worries. Bring light, optimism, and hope back into your life." Thank you for listening. Bye.
We want you to become a UNN field messenger. These are everyday people just like you who want to make a difference in their community. You don't need any special training or equipment. Just use the camera on your mobile phone and show us what's happening in your area. You send us your videos and our production team will create the report for you. Our new website is now up and running at unitednetwork.earth. You can submit your Field Messenger reports directly through the Field Messenger tab at the top of the page. You can also email your reports to our new email address at fieldmessenger@unitednetwork.earth.
Hey, I'm Kirsten from Switzerland.
This is Wayne from Tucson.
Hi, my name is Desmond from Ghana.
I am Claudia from Dawsonville, Georgia.
I'm Mikey from Pretoria, South Africa.
Hi, I'm Steve McGrath, Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada.
People from all around the world are coming together.
Happy day, beautiful world. We are here in a rather small urban garden, and this video is just to show you the joys that we've had in this garden with the electric gardening.
When news happens in their area, they show us what's really going on.
We have people in the streets protesting for and against.
At United Network News, our field messengers are changing the face of news.
This is Field Messenger Helen reporting with nature, and I'm going to talk to you about the bees again.
Take the next step in restoring our planet. Become a UNN field messenger today.
Hi, I'm Stephanie from South Africa. If it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to me. It's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to all of us. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news.
You've probably heard the term twin flame before, but what does it actually mean? And is it a real thing? Carrie Kay has a popular YouTube channel that gives straight talk about spiritual truths, such as ascension, energy, timelines, manifestation, and the false matrix. And today we're learning all about twin flames. Today we're talking about twin flames. And Carrie, this is an interesting topic, I think, because it's kind of, the topic has made its way, the words twin flames have kind of made its way out there. I feel like more in a mainstream way. I'm hearing it more often, but I don't know if we really know what it is. So can you give us the background? Is that really a thing, a twin flame?
Yeah, it's really a thing, but it's really also a buzzword. It's both. Okay. So there's a fantasy and there's an illusion going on in the hearts and the minds of humanity, and we've noted under many different names. We used to call it soulmate, and before that, we called it Prince Charming. So all we've done is we have dressed up an old concept with a new name. So on one hand, twin flames do exist, and I'll explain what they are. But there is an entire population of people out there who are doing exactly what little girls were taught to do. Wait for Prince Charming to come save you. He's going to be the everything and the allness. So a lot of people are going, I'm just waiting for my twin flame. And they're saying, what do I have to do to get that twin flame? Instead of, what do I have to be to be the fullest version of me right now. Because a twin flame does exist. But you don't get to access that frequency because it is so activating until you have stepped into your wholeness and out of all of the codependency. Yeah. So you're going to hear a lot of people in a lot of relationships, and they're going to say, oh, I met my twin flame. And you know why they say that? They say that, number one, because they really want it to be true. But number two is because everything feels more intense right now. Every emotion, whether it's joy or sorrow, heartache, heartbreak, heart openness, compassion, sadness, everything is like emotions on steroids right now because we're headed towards ascension. We're headed towards the greatest shift that this planet has ever undergone. So as that happens, we become more sensitive. So now, instead of going, I am becoming more sensitive, what we land up doing is saying, oh, this person is making me feel things I've never felt before. That's not true. You are responsible for all that you feel. This is your field. This is your emotional repertoire that you are stepping into. Yes, somebody else is activating it, but just because it's so intense does not mean that it's a twin flame. I've had people say to me, oh, I know that I'm in a twin flame relationship because we fight all the time. That is not. People believe that. So they believe my twin flame is going to trigger me. My twin flame is going to do things to me that shift me and grow me, which becomes an excuse for some really questionable behavior. Mm-hmm. So do you see how there's distortion involved here?
Yeah.
There's a very pure concept. So let me talk about the pure concept now. Twin flame is absolutely a real thing. You, when you look in the mirror, you see one human being, one body, and you've even got a name. My name's Carrie, your name's Sunny, each individual. We know our name. We look in the mirror and we say, this is who I am, as if we're a singular thing. But we're not. We're multidimensional. And all of those multidimensional selves have one conglomerate oversoul called the monad. Some people will refer to it as the oversoul. Some people will refer to it as the monad. It's different names saying exactly the same thing. So in other words, you in your totality comprise many different aspects of you. You are not one thing. You are many, many different beings all rolled into one. The omnipotence of your oversoul is so massive that it's incomprehensible. It's connected to God directly and has no sense of ever being separate from God. Imagine that. Imagine the type of wisdom that oversoul of yours is holding. It cannot possibly express itself in one human body. It expresses itself in multiple bodies. So when you meet somebody else that is of your monadic structure or of your oversoul, you get activated. You suddenly get switched on. Why? Because it's your own soul speaking back to you. It's an aspect of you that you lost connection to. That's the magic of the twin flame. And it's beautiful and it's uplifting and it raises frequency. And these are of the most loving relationships, the most sacred of sacred unions. But they only occur when you've healed enough that you are ready to know yourself outside of this individuated form. You cannot go into a twin flame relationship with codependency or addiction behaviors or any kind of one-upment, power struggle stuff. None of that can be present in a twin flame relationship. So it is a beautiful thing, Sunny. It is very real.
So it's interesting because we say twin, and I actually have twin girls, and that's two in my world. Yeah. But you're saying there could be multiple beings out there, and it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship.
It can be a friendship. It can be a business relationship.
But someone you really connect with. And would it be instantaneous? Would you just feel it?
You know that person. Right. You look into their eyes and they're a stranger. This is the first time you're meeting them, but you feel a warmth and a connection. You feel as if you know them, but more importantly, you feel as if there is now more you because of them. So it's almost like when I'm in this person's presence, I feel more like me than I've ever felt before. That's a very, very good test to see if that is a twin flame relationship. And yeah, it is misleading because you're right. Twin sounds like two, but there can be multiple twin flames. Chances, however, are that you're only going to meet one other version of you in this lifetime. Maybe you're going to meet more, but because it's so activating, we tend to limit those as a soul, as an oversoul, we tend to limit those connections because it can almost blow your frequency. It can be so powerful. It can blow your circuitry. And we kind of want to stay alive. We kind of want to keep the integrity of the body. You know, I think that's sort of important. So you will tend to have, although there are many twin flames, you will tend to have a relationship probably with just one, conceivably more, but probably just one. One is enough.
One is enough. Butterfly counting has been found to reduce anxiety and increase one's connection to nature. A project by Butterfly Conservation in the UK is monitoring and tracking the population of butterflies by sending volunteers to designated areas and recording the number of species of butterflies they see. The purpose of this activity is to support and monitor conservation projects. A new study done by Butterfly Conservation found that participants who were counting butterflies felt a range of emotions and showed a strong desire to protect wildlife. This has led to the creation of butterfly havens in gardens and supporting wildlife recovery. The study shows an encouraging shift in people's attitudes toward actively supporting environmental conservation while improving their overall mental well-being. The Slow Flowers movement represents a growing trend towards sustainability, locality, and seasonality in the floral industry. It highlights the preference for flowers that are locally sourced and often organically grown to minimize the environmental impact associated with transporting flowers over long distances. This movement supports local economies by prioritizing local growers and encourages a deeper connection between consumers and the natural cycle of plant life. The Slow Flowers movement is beneficial for the environment and the floral industry. Supporting local growers helps to strengthen their business and create more job opportunities within communities. Buying locally grown flowers also promotes seasonality in the floral industry. It encourages consumers to appreciate nature's rhythms and each season's beauty. This adds variety to floral arrangements and reduces the need for flower imports, which often come from countries with less stringent environmental regulations. This movement shows beauty and environmental responsibility, and it shows that they can coexist harmoniously for a sustainable solution. In Great Britain, efforts to revive and expand the temperate rainforests that once thrived along the western coast are underway. Leading this green initiative, the Devon Wildlife Trust plans to plant more than 100,000 trees in southwest England to increase existing woodlands that are currently facing extinction. This project is part of a broader movement by the National Trust aimed at reclaiming Britain's lost rainforests. These ecosystems, also known as Atlantic or Celtic rainforests, are home to unique species of trees, plants, lichens, and fungi, along with an array of birds and mammals, all thriving in the area's humidity and high rainfall. The restoration of these forests carries multiple benefits beyond biodiversity conservation. They play a critical role in purifying air and water and ultimately create spaces for the public to enjoy and also for recreation. Various community groups, smaller environmental trusts, and local primary schools are actively engaging in tree planting activities across numerous sites, demonstrating a collective effort to rejuvenate these vital natural habitats. We are United Network News. Every day, we release real stories from real people all over the world.
Field Messenger reporting from Gold Coast, Australia,
Denmark,
Canada,
Uganda,
from Atlanta, in Southern California.
In their own words, people like you share what's really happening in their area. At UNN, you are the news. You are creating a new world with infinite possibilities. You are the restoration plan. Come join us for the real news every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, only on United Network. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news. Now, a look at regional stories around the world. Argentina's government is planning to cut 70,000 public sector jobs, a move that's highly controversial. In South Korea, the city's bus driver strike comes to a halt after both sides agree on a wage increase. France signs legislation that makes discrimination based on hairstyles like dreadlocks or braids illegal and now heads to the Senate for approval. And if you live in Toronto, Canada, you may soon be taxed based on the amount of storm water in your area. It's being called the rain tax, and it aims to tackle stormwater runoff issues. In Argentina, the government has announced their intention to eliminate 70,000 public sector jobs. This decision is part of a broader strategy aiming for fiscal balance, including halting public works, reducing provincial funding, and eliminating more than 200,000 social welfare programs accused of corruption. The austerity measures aimed at counteracting the country's alarming 276% annual inflation rate have sparked significant labor union backlash, with strikes already underway. Despite these controversial actions, public optimism about the economic future appears on the rise, as reflected in recent polls. Additionally, the government has plans to implement further economic reforms after the 2025 congressional elections. Chinese officials have announced plans for the People's Bank of China to start purchasing treasury bonds aimed at injecting more liquidity into the market. This move, not seen since the early 2000s, is designed to stabilize the economy and support growth amidst challenges, including high local government debt levels and the need for vast economic stimulus. Critics argue this approach could raise concerns over fiscal monetization, like the quantitative easing strategies employed by Western nations. This strategy is expected to directly impact the everyday lives of Chinese citizens by potentially improving economic conditions, creating jobs, and fostering business opportunities, particularly in sectors like technology, green development, and manufacturing. Concerns remain, however, about the long-term implications of this policy shift on inflation and the value of the yuan, which could affect household savings and purchasing power. Filipino workers in Poland are facing severe challenges and disappointments after being lured by the promise of European residency and higher wages. Many of these workers who arrive through recruitment agencies find themselves in precarious employment situations, including seasonal jobs with fluctuating hours and pay well below expectations. The reality of their working conditions, coupled with high recruitment fees, leaves them unable to cover living expenses or recoup initial costs. The accommodation provided is far from adequate, with numerous workers sharing limited space and amenities. Reports indicate about 30,000 Filipino workers currently in Poland are at risk of rights violations, including poor living conditions and withheld wages. The Philippine government has issued warnings about misleading recruitment practices, highlighting the need for greater awareness and caution amongst potential job seekers. In South Korea, a potential disruption in the capital's public transport system was narrowly avoided as bus drivers called off a strike mere hours after it began, following successful wage negotiations. The city's bus union and employers settled on a 4.48% salary increase, significantly less than the initially demanded 13%. This decision marks the end of the city's first full-scale bus driver strike in 12 years, with the previous one lasting just 20 minutes. The agreement was a relief for the capital's more than 9 million residents who heavily rely on buses for daily commutes. The city operates on a unique quasi-public bus system, combining private operation with substantial city subsidies and regulations to ensure service accessibility. Sri Lanka's government has decided to raise the minimum wage by 40% to help workers cope with high living costs amidst their gradual recovery from the deepest financial crisis in years. The economic turmoil beginning in early 2022 due to a foreign exchange shortage led to high inflation, a depreciated currency, and a default on international debt. The wage hike aims to alleviate poverty, increasing the daily national wage considerably. The government's recent tax increases and energy price hikes have escalated the cost of living, significantly affecting the impoverished population. This has sparked continuous protests in the capital by university students and trade unions, pressing for more affordable living conditions. In Rajasthan, India, a significant number of families find themselves in a relentless cycle of hardship due to the silicosis epidemic, a disease predominantly affecting workers in the cobblestone industry. The state government has initiated a policy that provides financial assistance for the treatment of silicosis patients and their families. However, activists and workers claim that the compensation is often inadequate, covering medical or debt expenses, but failing to facilitate a transition to healthier employment. Child labor remains rampant, aggravated by economic pressures and insufficient enforcement of labor laws. Local workers express a lack of alternatives for income, rejecting the idea of shutting down the cobblestone business without viable employment options. Nigeria has announced plans to award only new mining licenses to companies that commit to local mineral processing, aiming to foster job creation and boost the economy. Under these new guidelines, which are in development, the government promises incentives like tax waivers on mining equipment and easier access to electricity generation licenses. This strategy aims to boost investment and ensure the benefits of mineral wealth directly impact the local population and economy. The shift signifies Nigeria's departure from exporting unprocessed raw materials, a practice that has long undervalued Africa's rich mineral resources. To address illegal mining and underinvestment, a Solid Minerals Corporation and a Special Security Unit have been established. European countries are implementing stricter rules on new zero tobacco heat sticks, affecting manufacturers and consumers. These products, created as a response to the European Union's ban on flavored heated tobacco, are made from nicotine-infused materials like rooibos tea. Latvia, Lithuania, and Croatia are leading efforts to impose strict controls on these alternatives, including a flavor ban set to take effect in 2025. Although these sticks are a small part of tobacco companies' revenues, they are crucial for innovation and expansion amid tight regulations. Tobacco companies argue flavors help smokers switch to less harmful options and call for evidence-based rules and taxes. The European Commission is reviewing EU's tobacco laws and may tighten loopholes in future updates. could impact the market for these substitutes. Record levels of raw sewage have been discharged into England's waterways, posing serious health risks to the public and endangering wildlife. Investigations by regulatory bodies into illegal sewage dumping highlight a systemic misuse of storm overflows by water companies. These overflows, intended only for extreme weather conditions, have been exploited to discharge untreated sewage even on dry days, violating environmental laws. This has sparked outrage amongst environmentalists and local communities who frequent rivers and beaches for recreation. The exposure to untreated sewage has led to increased incidents of sickness among swimmers and poses a grave threat to ecological sites. Only 2 out of all water companies currently provide real-time data on sewage discharge, calling into question transparency and accountability within the industry. France's lower house has passed a bill aiming to make discrimination based on hairstyles, such as dreadlocks, braids, and afros, illegal. The legislation aims to empower victims of hair discrimination in workplaces and beyond, providing them with a stronger legal foothold for court cases. This initiative was inspired in part by a study revealing the disproportionate challenges Black women face regarding hair perception in professional settings. The bill, which now awaits Senate approval, has been met with enthusiasm on the streets of Paris, especially amongst the Black community. Critics, however, argue the bill imports unnecessary American ideologies into French society, which traditionally emphasizes universal equality and refrains from acknowledging ethnic distinctions. Germany's principal post service, Deutsche Post, says it is stopping its domestic air mail services after more than 6 decades. The decision comes amid a noticeable decline in the urgency and volume of letter mail, with the company highlighting the environmental cost of continuing air transport for letters as unjustifiable. This change is expected to impact the speed at which mail is delivered within Germany. Previously, the service strived to deliver 80% of letters by the next working day. However, under pending legislation, the new goal will be to deliver 95% of mail within 3 days. The move has received mixed reactions from the public, with some praising the eco-friendly approach, while others express concerns over the potential delays in mail delivery. A German court has found that Mercedes-Benz had knowingly used devices to falsify emissions tests in some of their diesel vehicles. This decision is aiming to secure compensation for affected Mercedes-Benz diesel vehicle owners. These so-called defeat devices made the cars appear less polluting under laboratory conditions than they were on the roads, leading consumers to believe they were purchasing environmentally friendly and fuel-efficient vehicles. This has not only misled consumers, but also resulted in vehicles failing to meet the environmental standards promised by the car maker. Some owners have also reported a decrease in their vehicle's performance and fuel efficiency after the removal of these devices. Mercedes-Benz, however, has rejected the court's ruling and intends to appeal. In Belgium, a significant increase in the minimum wage is set to benefit tens of thousands of low-income workers starting April 1st. This adjustment positions Belgium amongst the top 5 within the European Union with high minimum wage rates. This rise is part of a plan for another increase scheduled for 2026. With the new adjustments, low-income workers, approximately 80,000 individuals, will see an improvement in their earnings. Additionally, tax employment bonuses will be enhanced, potentially boosting net salaries significantly. Public sector salaries will also be adjusted to align with inflation rates. During the last 4 years, Belgium has witnessed significant growth in its minimum wage, reflecting a trend of steady economic adjustments. In Toronto, Canada, plans are underway to introduce a stormwater fee separate from the current water rate, sparking concerns amongst residents over potential hikes in utility bills. Labeled by some as the rain tax, this fee aims to tackle stormwater runoff issues that can flood basements and pollute waterways by overwhelming the sewer system. The city is seeking public feedback on this through virtual meetings and online surveys until April 30th. With this proposal, residential properties could see a 25% reduction in water rates, but stormwater management costs will be listed separately on bills. Multi-residential properties might see lower bills, and larger properties could qualify for stormwater charge credits. This move, similar to efforts in cities like Halifax, aims to fund major stormwater management upgrades. New York is set to become the first city in the U.S. to implement congestion tolls, aiming to decrease traffic and pollution. Starting in June, vehicles entering Manhattan south of 60th Street during daytime will face a $15 charge, with variations for the vehicle size and entry time. This initiative aims to encourage public transportation use, thereby reducing congestion and enhancing the efficiency of buses and emergency services. Supporters praise its potential to speed up transit and reduce emissions, while critics argue it places a financial strain on workers and could lead to increased cost for consumer goods. The plan has sparked legal challenges and concerns from neighboring states, worried about the economic impact on their commuters without benefiting their local transit systems. The U.S. will soon update its federal race and ethnicity classifications for the first time in more than 2 decades, responding to growing diversity. This significant change will introduce a new category for Middle Eastern and North African residents, a move welcomed by communities seeking recognition. Outdated and pejorative terms will be removed from federal paperwork, reflecting the nation's complex demographic fabric. The adjustment aims to improve data accuracy, allowing for the breakdown of information to effectively address disparities in health, income, and discrimination. Critics, including some Afro, Latinos, and Middle Eastern communities, expressed concerns over potential erasure and misrepresentation due to these changes. Despite reservations, federal agencies have 18 months to implement the new standards, expected to influence redistricting, civil rights enforcement, health statistics, and more. With Easter right around the corner, U.S. consumers are facing higher chocolate prices due to a surge in cocoa costs. Due to a bean disease in West Africa tripling cocoa prices and a 7% rise in sugar costs, chocolate manufacturers are preparing for another round of price increases. These price hikes come at a time when many are already feeling the impact of inflation. Despite this, Easter candy sales are expected to match last year's $5.4 billion, mainly through price hikes rather than increased sales volume. To combat rising cocoa prices, companies like Hershey are offering more non-cocoa treats, while others, such as Mondelez, are introducing premium products aimed at those willing to spend a little extra. Retailers are responding by offering significant discounts on popular Easter candies to entice budget-conscious customers. Want to share news from UNN? Help us change the face of social media and use it for good. Connect with us through our online channels. Our social media team creates clips from each newscast you can easily share with people you care about. And that's also where you'll find our UNN meme of the day, a great way to encourage critical thinking. Links to all of our social media sites are available at the bottom of our website, which is unitednetwork.earth. Let's change the face of news together. So there is no world situation report for us today, but we do have a quick update for you from Kimberly Hogan with the Office of the Guardian. As with every Good Friday, alien technology that lays dormant throughout the rest of the year comes alive on this day. Locations on Earth affected would be Mount Rushmore, South Dakota, the Garden Tomb in Jerusalem, Israel, Greenland, and in the Hill of the Cross in Guatemala. The connection between all of these sites forms a cross formation that emits a dark frequency throughout the planet. This frequency is known as the octave of Easter. According to our history, the octave of Easter begins on Easter Sunday and continues for one full week following until the following Sunday. It begins at the exact time of the death of Christ, Jesus Christ, around noon Eastern Standard Time on Good Friday, and continues through to the following new moon, which falls this year on the 8th of April, 2024. When this frequency was fully operational, it opened a dark gateway to the lower astral. But now there is no lower astral, so this structure failed to create any loss of the Christ or crystalline energy of the planet. However, it did emit some rather disturbing frequencies, which are now clearing as of the time of this recording. We believe the structure used the original rightful guardian for source on this planet, known to us as Christ, and his death to curse this planet for more than 2016 years. This year, the curse has been broken, and we have moved into the golden age, and there is no going back. As for the deep state, they are in full swing today, hoping for a miracle of their own by April 1st. Not this year, deep state. This year, the April Fool's joke is on you. For those of you celebrating this weekend, Kimberly would like to wish all of you a happy Easter weekend. And of course, she'll give us a full report on this weekend's events on Monday. That wraps up today's news update. Please share UNN with your friends and family. We need everyone to come together to help restore our planet. When news happens in your area, record it and share it with us so we can share it with the world. Remember, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I'm Sunny Galt. Join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the real news.